have so many things to talk about. The question that continues to be asked, what in the world is going on with Premier Padel and the players? Last week we talked about the boycott and what's been happening, but we have some updates. Stupa and Lebron decided to end their boycott. They sent a letter to Premier Padel and told them, can you please extend the deadline for Cancun P2? We want to sign up. We want to end this boycott. We think there's a different approach to how we go about things.
Same idea with Stupa and Lebron. I was also hyped up about Triay and Delphi Brea. Same idea of some, veterans joining up, partnering up, and teaming up to take down the big guys. I love it. I'm so upset and so sad. It was kind of bittersweet when they won. I'm like, no.
The kids, they held on to their mental toughness, but at 5-6, Tolito guns are serving to say in it. It was advantage for the youngsters. And then Tolito tries a drop shot. He tried off the return of serve. He loses the point on a drop shot error because he tried to do a drop shot that exits the court.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Padel Pulse podcast. I'm Yousef.
I'm Ismaeel.
Hey guys, I'm Haroon.
We have so many things to talk about. The question that continues to be asked, what in the world is going on with Premier Padel and the players? Last week we talked about the boycott and what's been happening, but we have some updates, don't we?
Yeah,
so
we're to get into today.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that, and we're going to talk about Gijon, obviously, and we'll get into Cancun a bit. But to start off, we need to talk about all the latest updates going on with this Premier Padel boycott.
Give us the rundown. Where are we?
So I'm going to... Everything was going, not smooth, but we knew everyone's stance. The players were on this side, Premier Padel was on this side, and they were as far away from each other as can be. And then the biggest bombshell happened, and the first domino fell. And Stupa and Lebron decided to end their boycott. They sent a letter to Premier Padel and told them, can you please extend the deadline for Cancun P2? We want to sign up. We want to end this boycott. We think there's a different approach to how we go about things. Ismaeel, what did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought it was it was super unexpected because it seemed like the players were all really united on that front and waiting to get a response on the things that they were asking for. We'll talk a little about that. So I was a bit shocked. Also, it's been really hard to do research on this whole boycott situation with everything in Spanish. It's been a struggle. We put that Stupa's letter all through a translator and it came out weird because you know what? There's the sentence that he wrote.
For the people that do not know, Stupa wanted to explain why he and Juan Lebron took the decision they took, and he put out a long, heartfelt letter to explain. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then he said, I was strongly advised not to sign up for the next tournaments due to the legal, civil, commercial, and sporting risks that this decision could cause me. I think that he meant that he was advised to sign up, not to sign up, I think.
You think so?
I think that was just a mistake in the translation. Why would he be legally advised not to sign up for the tournament? He was legally advised to sign up for the tournament. I don't know if it was in the Spanish was an issue or when it was translated was an issue, but he was, it seems that now my understanding is, I understand. He asked the lawyer, he said he was legally advised to sign up for the tournament. He reached out to Premier Padel asking, hey guys, can we sign up for the tournament? So from that sense, he was the first domino to fall. Interesting that he was the one being vocal about it. It was on his account, and we're talking about that Stupa's message, not LeBron's. Although LeBron is right there with him and agreeing with every step. I wonder if it's Stupa the one that wanted to play, and LeBron kind of just went with it, or Stupa is the one that has the courage to come speak out. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I'm happy to see Stupa and LeBron play, of course, but I don't know what this means for going forward. People are critiquing the fact that are they just taking advantage of the situation? They're going to easily win this next P2.
But he talked about how if they decide okay, take away our points, it's not. He said it's not about points.
Yeah.
He said the whole idea is about that. I believe this can be solved through dialogue, and we should not. And he doesn't think that boycotting is the best approach.
Yeah.
So
In that sense, I give him credit for that, because he said that he's happy either to drop the points if they want to drop it later, or that if they can't play a future P2, so other players can get a chance to make up for lost points that they may get from Cancun. Credit to him at least for that. And but
Haroon,
definitely the front is not united, and I don't think the players are happy with their decision.
it's a big domino effect.
Yeah.
Haroon, your thoughts?
I wonder if that was a strategic move that, I don't know, maybe they agreed, okay, Stupa and Lebron are going to try to go to Cancun as a way to kind of, I don't know.
Like an olive branch?
Maybe.
I don't think so, though.
I
don't think so.
Maybe, because Stupa and Lebron obviously are going to sell a lot of tickets, but at the same time, it's not the rest of the top players. So maybe that's something that is, happening there. But yeah, like, I don't know. We don't know a lot of things behind the scenes. Stupa says that it could be solved with dialogue. The other players made me think as well that, yeah, they tried dialogue, and I'm sure, like we saw, Alex Ruiz said that he sent many emails and they didn't respond to him. So I feel like maybe they tried this dialogue before and they were forced to do it in this way, because, think of it as an athlete. Don't really think anybody wants to do a boycott. It's so much drama and causes a lot of complication. You as a player, you have a lot of things on your plate already to train and stay healthy and travel and do all of these things, and then your own life. So yeah, I feel like they were forced into this kind of, in a way, and they weren't really hurt, because if you're actually hurt, then you wouldn't need to do any boycotts. I don't know. It's we still don't know a lot of things behind the scenes. We don't know their intention, but time will tell what the actual truth was and how things actually played out. But yeah, what do you think, Yousef?
When I looked at Stupa's message, like, okay, this makes sense. I understand his standpoint, but as you said, Haroon, like, we don't understand what's going on exactly. We're going to get into the PPA press conference a bit and what they had to say. But the thing is, Stupa and LeBron, they are, to me, it's okay. The fact that this is the third best team in the world right now, and if they decide to take this decision, what happens in the future? Because after this P2, we have P1s. We're going to have the P1 in Miami. Everyone's going. We know that. P1 in Santiago, Chile. Everyone's going. When we get back to the other P2s, are other guys going to, if nothing changes, are other guys going to change their minds? Because if Stupa and LeBron decide to take this decision, I don't know. But I felt like the whole thing was, like you said, Ismaeel, it was about a united front at the moment. When one of the biggest players falls, it's no longer a united front, and I'm guessing some people are going to be second guessing at the moment of how to move forward.
Yeah,
but
it's not one player; it's both, because LeBron is there with him.
Yeah, Stupa LeBron. The third
LeBron is taking a back seat in this whole story, but
which is interesting.
But it's
but
not.
Also, I think because Stupa, maybe he knows that Stupa, for example, has maybe a better reputation in general. Not like LeBron is a feisty guy.
LeBron is a 3-year world number one.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that LeBron maybe has more hate because he's this fiery guy who's sometimes hot-headed, so maybe people don't look at him the same way. And they felt like maybe if we approach it through Stupa, who is known probably as a nice guy and a level-headed guy, and maybe it's taken in a different different way. I do not know,
if
but
that was a PR move, I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, they probably consider that. But he's been quite silent on the whole thing.
Yeah,
I definitely think the players are not happy with them, and honestly, I don't think this is good for the negotiation. I think it's easier to have a negotiation. All the players are united. All of you agree with the Premier Padel, and it's over. Now it's like, oh, well, they did this, so now I want that. Like, it's going to making cases for exceptions is always
I don't know
issue.
what's the right approach, because if we get into the Premier Padel, what the response was, they sent a letter out, and they said that we're going to agree to one of your demands. So that's one thing that changed. They said the draws for the P1s and P2s are going to go back to what they were in 2024. So which means that these things in the P1s where the top 4 seeds had 2 buys and the top 16 seeds had 1 buy, that's no longer the case. The top 16 have 1 buy. There's no buy in the round of 32. Everyone starts from that round. And in the P2s, no more buys. The top 8 had buys. That's not going to happen anymore. Everyone's going to play from the first round. So that was one of the demands. So and
I mean, for me, that was pretty easy to accept that demand. I told you, I think that demand is the first one that should be accepted. Yeah. Why would you not? The top players are taking it upon themselves to play extra matches.
You know, because if you actually...
Why would you not accept that? Like, that's better for ratings, for TV, for content. Why, like, if Federer told me I want to play one more match, or Djokovic, why would I ever say no?
Yeah, because maybe they could get injured, maybe. But that's apparently.
But they said they want to play, so why would the Premier Padel object?
But apparently last year, that's something that they said. They said that they're playing too many matches, so they wanted to reduce the number of matches they're playing. That's why.
Yeah, so that was one thing, but also on the other side, you have, like, I think the Premier Padel, one of the points that they made was that if the idea was, okay, in the Premier Padel tournaments, we're going to minimize them a bit, and we're going to make more FIP tournaments in closer areas to where these qualifiers or these people that make it to the first rounds are located. So therefore, we'll make more of those lower ranked tournaments for them in the areas, so they don't have to pay so much for travel and pay so much, like, they don't have to take all that cost on and all. So instead, they're going to, if we give them less access to those tournaments until they move up the rankings, and then they're stable enough to play the Premier Padel tournaments. So that was one of the reasonings behind why Premier Padel and FIP wanted to take that stance, which was an interesting approach. I can't say yes or no. I'm not a player to say, but
from that sense, I mean, I've been thinking about that the same way, because the World Padel Tour had all these tournaments in Spain and Argentina where they would fill up the stands, and you have all these players there. So it's good, definitely, to have more of the tournaments around these locations. I didn't know that the strategy with the FIPs was to move in more in that direction. So from that sense, that's definitely a good point. Does it counterbalance the smaller draw in the P2? I don't know if that's enough to counterbalance. And it's true that the structure is not coherent enough, I guess. And that's I think that's a fair critique. Like, the initiative might be good from Premier Padel. The structure is not coherent enough to align with the rest of the grading of the tournaments, I would say.
Which was also interesting within this Premier Padel statement that they made was they did state that the tournament, like the boycott, like it was a threat in a way. Like, actually, we were just fine without you guys. Gijon was a success. The stadium was filled with fans, and we had a successful tournament. Yeah, we took some losses, commercial losses, but overall, we showcased the rising stars, and Padel's going to be, like, it felt like they were saying Padel's going to be fine without you guys, which is definitely not the case. But I can see maybe the players are going to second guess themselves, like, hey, maybe this tournament happened, everything was fine.
But how are they saying Padel's going to be fine without you if they're saying, well, we incurred so many losses and we're in such a bad situation?
Yeah, but they said the event was a success, and we're going to continue to promote and organize these tournaments, and we have these rising stars. So, like, we're going to talk about the champions that actually won Gijon in a few years' time. Maybe they're special players that. So I don't know. It was a threat in a way, but I disagree though. You need those top 100 guys, because you can't tell me that the final that we saw in Gijon is anything close to watching Koyo and Tapia and Lebron, Stupa, any of these top guys play. So
they're great players. They're just not what we were used to with the top guys.
And they will become. We're going to get into that in a bit when we talk about the champions and our biggest winners. But so that was that when it comes to the latest statement there. And then yesterday we had the PPA press conference. And please, guys, maybe if you speak Spanish, cut us some slack, because we don't speak Spanish. And this entire press conference was in Spanish. So we tried.
And there was no English communication even after. Like, there was nothing for us to understand. We're translating official press releases and official journalists. Yeah, we're translating every document and piece of information we get. This has been a mess.
Yeah, which is very interesting, because if you want the sport to grow, and actually, like, we're trying to speak about this and trying to grow the game of Padel through however we can, through TSH Padel, through this podcast. at least give us the information in English so people can talk about the entire thing that's going on from Premier Padel. If you guys have anyone that speaks English, let them come out and talk. If anyone wants to come on the podcast, be my guest.
Yeah.
And players also, same thing. I think you guys need to talk in English because you have fans all over the world now. So talk to us in English.
Yeah.
They did not.
I feel like we are definitely the official voice of Padel on this.
So from the PPA standpoint, what I understand, and you guys, please, everyone, Haroon, you fill in the blanks because I'm going to say what I got from the entire thing. And what we do understand, I think this was as coherent as can be, is that Premier Padel hasn't talked to them. They haven't talked to each other. They haven't even moved one bit towards negotiations. And but they did say, we apologize to the fans for this entire thing, and we know, even Chingoto said that we know that we are nothing without you guys, without the fans, us as as top players, we can't make a living out of this. This can't be a job. So they apologized to fans, which was nice, and which means that they know what's going on. It is not the best thing from a fan's perspective. And they said that we're not asking for money in this. It's all about organizational issues. So
yeah, about that, which is what I understood, and one of the claims they made, which is they said the rules are changed unilaterally, without prior notice, and in the middle of the competition. I have no idea what they're referring to. What rules are being changed in the middle of the competition? Is it rules, or is this just a bad Spanish translation? I have no idea. I know they're saying that the Premier Padel just changes stuff all of a sudden. I don't think it means rules, because as far as I know, the rules of Padel are the same. It's not like all of a sudden we're playing Golden Point. So I have no idea what they mean.
We are struggling with this, so we're trying our best. Haroon, did you see anything from this PPA press conference that you felt like need to be highlighted?
Well, the highlighted thing is that they said they don't want money. Like, it's not a monetary issue. It's not an economic issue. It's more about the sport. So they're trying to make sure that the sport is fair. The sport is really supporting the players and making sure that the players are playing under fair conditions. So that's, I think, the most important thing that they wanted to highlight from that press conference, was to make sure that people don't misunderstand the point of this whole boycott thing, or them not going to play tournaments as because they need more money, which maybe is something that we could have understood before and it wasn't so clear before. But it's now just making sure that they have, a good tour that supports the players, that is fair to them, that so they don't get injured, they're not overworked, they don't play too many tournaments, and it's fair to everybody playing and participating. So that's kind of the message I think that we should also push out. What?
Yeah, it's a very general, vague message. I honestly don't understand. So here's what I captured. So
Can
other.
you say what Danilo said? Can you please just tell people like the translation of one of the quotes that came out from the press conference?
I mean,
Like he said, we are not asking for money or anything crazy. We just want to play Padel, but under fair conditions, with changes that are consulted, reviewed, and announced in advance. Nothing more than that.
okay. So I guess. I mean, that's related to Haroon's point. Great, which the intention they're saying is noble. I'm all for it. But then what's the issue? Because these are the issues I understand. Last time, I think we understood that the issues were the size of the P2 draws. Those have been fixed. And the P1. All right. So that's been fixed. The rule changes in the middle. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're talking about the length of the size of the draws. Also, that idea of the rules, I don't know. If you have any Spanish speakers, if they can help us understand what that means. Something else we were able to translate. It's saying it is false that we have proposed that the number of frames be shortened. In fact, we advise against it. God knows what they mean by frames. I think it means draws.
Means a draw.
Yeah, I think that means the draws. So they did not want the shorter. Okay, so they fixed the draws. Said boycott for not playing a tournament. The boycott is theirs for not wanting to sit down to negotiate and sending threatening letters. Right, so they want to negotiate, they want to communicate. What do they want to communicate on? I'm not still clear on that. And Alex Ruiz, like Haroon mentioned, he said that he sent 3 emails in the last 2 weeks and not received a response. So those are the conflicts, the things on the table. The last thing that I understand that they have an issue with, which I didn't understand last week, which is the FIP being what they say both a judge and a jury at the same time, and saying that there's a conflict of interest.
There's a conflict.
Yeah.
FIP president.
Yeah. So they're
Carraro is also the premier paddle vice president.
Yeah, so that's their big issue. Okay, so I understand theoretically what that means, but concretely, I don't know what's causing them an issue. Like right now, the holdup, I don't know. I no longer understand what the holdup is on. Like
I believe
the
that there's
P2 draws
there
and
are
P1
things-
draws are fixed. So now, what is the holdup on? It's organization. Is it rules? Is it just that? And if it is that, what has the FIP done to bother them, or was it? And if what the FIP did was about the draws, the fix. So I no longer understand what the holdup is about.
I think also maybe like I think there are things that we don't fully know. So I think there are some demands that are clear to the FIP and clear to the Premier Padel and the players, but it's not clear to everybody else that is watching and that's a fan. And I think also that when you're trying to make demands, you don't want to make very concrete demands, because then you don't want to put yourself in a box maybe. So kind of maybe keep things a little bit loose, and you're trying to get as much as possible from these negotiations and this whole process. But also I think that it's kind of like it's a matter of principle as well, that they feel that the structure is not right and they want to change the structure. Maybe right now it's not affecting them so much, like their lives are not changed drastically, but I think that they're trying to then create a proper system, and before it causes really a lot of problems. So there are some problems that they shared with us about the points, about the draw, and there could be other things that we don't know about, but also for the future and in general, because like you said, the president of the FIP is also the vice president of Premier Padel. That's not something that is supposed to be okay. And and maybe that is going to affect things later on when more disputes come to happen. So maybe you're not understanding what is the holdup right now, but I think it's going to be clear in the future, though, soon.
Okay, great. As far as I understand right now, because they had an issue with the points, that's been fixed. They had an issue with the draws, that's been fixed. The only holdup I see is this idea that the vice president of the FIP...
But the issue of the draw is not fixed,
the
by
president
the way.
of the FIP is the vice president of Premier Padel. That's the only
but the issue of the draw is not
concrete
fixed.
thing that I can touch, that it's fixed. It's fixed.
No,
they asked for the frames to be length, not shortened.
No,
the
issue,
frames are not
just
shortened.
According to what FIP said and everything, that they wanted less matches for the players because they're playing the same matches all over and over again. So they wanted less matches. So they changed it to something, and then they went back to the same thing that they were complaining about. They didn't improve. They just the displacement is zero. They went back to the same position they were. They need to change the structure to make it in a different format where they're not affecting the lower ranked players, but at the same time protecting the top players in another way. So
how do you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't if,
that's
so
not
that-
for that's not for us to decide. It's for them to then discuss to each other and think, okay, what's a good
No,
thing?
like, you tell me. Like, also, I saw a weird, interesting. I think it was yesterday who said like, we don't want to look at any other sports and compare ourselves or take anything. Like, we're paddle, we're our own sport. I don't understand what that means.
you have to learn from the other
Learn
sports.
from tennis. How about that?
Yeah.
Learn from tennis, because tennis is the fourth biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
And they have the biggest tournaments. I guess it's in comparison to stability, it is much more stable than whatever this is. So the fact that we want to be completely different sport, like, what do you want? What's going to happen within the draws? Because at the end of the day, you're players and you're supposed to play tournaments. Like, how many buys do you want? I don't understand.
You could do something with having a bigger tournament with a bigger draw, but less frequent tournaments. So bigger tournaments, but just less frequent tournaments.
What do you, like, for example, tennis, there are tournaments every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You want more tournaments?
they're not all
than
big
anything.
tournaments that the players play. Like, not everybody plays every tournament every week. So
Sure. Let's say how many tournaments you're gonna play a week. You play three tournaments. How many a month? Sorry.
to me, the draws are too short.
three.
Honestly, the draws are too short, and like somebody like Cuello and Tapia, they only start playing in round of 16 like a real match. Everything.
Yeah, that's what's been fixed. It went back to where we were last year.
Yeah.
Start every tournament from round.
But then you're playing a tournament. Then you're playing a lots of tournaments, 22 tournaments a week, 22 tournaments a year. That's also
not a lot. That's not a lot.
Well,
I mean,
apparently to them it's a
given
lot.
that-
Yeah. And they're traveling and whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking if we look at the schedule, like at the moment. So you're gonna have Cancun. Cancun is happening, and then after that you have like the week after Miami, and then the week after you have Santiago, and then there's again a 2 or 3 week gap, and then you have the Qatar Major, and then you have another. Then you have right after that P2. Fine.
tennis, you never have a 3
Exactly.
week gap. Never. The off season is like 10 days.
So okay, so if this is the conclusion I get, if it's a tournament, if there's a tournament every week, but before a major there's a break of a week, and they're obliged to play the P2s, that means so they get no chance to take time off. I understand it. I understand it then. But so they want which makes them which is why they want the P2s. So maybe if they can choose the P2s, they can rest. Correct?
I don't know.
But my final thoughts on this issue is, okay, so let's say so P2s basically like that's half of the Premier Padel season. You have 8 more left, okay, and you have 13 more big tournaments left. So let's say 40% of the tournaments left are P2s. So they only want to play 13 more tournaments this season. They've only played 1. So they only are what's.
Maybe you
Like,
should
I
add
don't
a
understand they
P3.
don't-
Maybe you should add a P3 actually.
They do have them, which is the FIP
No,
Platinum.
P3.
So-
You have same thing like tennis.
You
have-
just want to change the name. So all they're going to do is change the name from FIP Platinum to Premier Padel
no,
P3.
but that's the tour. You have the Premier Padel Tour and then the FIP Tour. Like
They're connected to each other. The
okay,
points
fine.
for
Maybe
this
you need
are-
another
are-
level. Maybe well for the big players because that affects the big players to play. Like
They can go down and play the tournaments if they want. We saw.
I
last
know,
year,
but you give them a
Bella
choice that
and
to
Alex
not play.
Ruiz and all of them.
You give them a
Huh?
choice to not play P2s or like you have to play the big tournaments, the majors, the P1s, and maybe some P2s and P3s. Maybe they don't have to play any of them.
Well,
I don't know.
Because they could go down to FIP, but it has to come to do with the obligation and what they're contractually obligated to play. Okay, they have to play all these P2s that the FIP is saying, but at the same
also,
time
who
they're not
wants to
saying that they
like,
don't have to
they're-
play to
they're
P2.
still-
So if you change the point system to have the majors, okay, they have to play them P1 and then P2s. That would make them choose their schedule. At the same time, you have some balance in points, and people want to pick up more points. Go play a P3 and go play a P2s, which will make the champions a bit different, and make them not make them some at the same time, so people could choose to go here or there. Based on how
you have to, but okay, but that brings me to my point of like the Premier Padel Tour has been like it's actually been functioning for 1 year, where you had the men, the women, and there was no other circuit to compete. A1's still there, and we know that, but like there's no more World Padel Tour, so it's gonna take time, I think.
But they already had
Eventually,
the World
I think
Padel
Lucas
Tour for
Berg-
some
Luke-
time, so this is not
No,
a new sport.
what
that
did
just
they
came out
have
of
for
nowhere.
some time?
The World
No, but
the
this
World
is a
Padel
new,
Tour was
completely
already
new
something
circuit.
that had something, so you take
This is
from
a
whatever they
completely
learned.
new circuit. This is a completely new circuit, a completely new business. Like Premier Padel is a new company completely.
Yeah, but that has nothing
And
to
yeah,
do with
so-
the structure, though. and how you do the sport.
How does that? Who wants to organize tournaments? Countries have to decide to organize tournaments.
There was no structure before. The World Padel Tour was just on its own, and there
No,
were
World
other
Padel Tour had
tours.
things in
There's-
Finland. They had things.
They
on-
had-
Yeah,
they
but
had
there was
two-
no.
they had like
there
a
were no
tournament in
levels
Finland.
there were no levels that are integrated across the world. Like there was no unified structure for the sport. Like what
but
Premier Padel brings to the table is that unified structure to the entire sport.
Then maybe you shouldn't do a Premier Padel if you don't know how you're gonna do it. Then
So Haroon, this like, it's gonna take time. You're saying like it's not that they don't know how to make it. Like, we've been doing this. If I'm Premier Padel, I've been doing this for a year now. You can't expect me to have everything done. And also, all these operators around the world that want tournaments. The sport's still growing. There's so many countries that are going to enter. For the first time, we have a tournament in the U.S. Miami's making a P1. So this is going to continue to evolve. It's not getting like even ATP Tour, WCA Tour, it continues to evolve. New places want to host tournaments. So the fact that we don't know what the final form looks like, and it's going to continue to change. But will we reach a point where we have two P2s at the same time, or maybe three P2s at the same time, like tennis, where you have three ATP 250s? You would want to reach that point, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. So that's my final thoughts on the issue. And let's see what happens over the next 2 weeks. We're going to be back to normalcy for a while during Santiago and Miami. So we're going to feel like everything's okay, I guess. And then it's going to come back again after the Qatar major when it goes back to the P2 in Brussels. How is it going to look then? But for Padel fans, after Cancun, we're going to have normalcy for a bit. But I don't know what happens after that. I'm going to say we go back to normal. Ismaeel, your thoughts on this? The final thoughts.
Yeah, I think right now the issue is mainly around this idea of the only main issue I see is the issue of the conflict of interest that they have between the FIP and the Premier Padel. And if they're not going to budge unless that changes, that might not happen. And the Premier Padel and FIP, the statement talking about how the FIA from Formula 1 is the same way, the FIFA has the same way, so like they can't expect a change with that. In terms of structure, I think there's room to improve the structure if that's what they're looking for. In terms of how many P2s they can play, they don't have to play all P2s. Sure, I think the Premier Padel, in general, I think is doing a great job of trying to grow the sport. I don't want to take credit away from them. They are trying to expand it to more countries. They are trying to involve more places. And that means that we need different venues in different countries to put up the money for that and to get the sponsors. So it's a big coordination issue and it's not easy. So they're doing a good job of growing the sport, in my opinion, for the most part. Some of these things, they can be hashed out. If the demands are going to be simple, and it's about like structure of the sport, I think Premier Padel is ready to make that. If it's big, like FIP and Premier Padel can't have the same VP president, I don't think that's changing anytime. If they're going to wait for that to be solved, that's not going to get solved.
Haroon, final thoughts?
Yeah, man, like what is there to say? Like, we hope this is resolved at least to the point where players are satisfied with all the regulations and all the system and the structure. Yeah, like to us fans, we just want to see padel. We want to see these fun points and fun matches. However that happens, fine by me, as long as it's done in a proper and fair way. So hopefully we see some improvements, and we shall see.
Last question about this. Are you on the players after everything we know? You have all the information that we know that we translated from so many different languages. Are you on the player side or the Premier Padel side at the moment? Ismaeel.
Well, in the beginning, I was definitely all in on the players. In general, I'm always supporting the players because the players, they make reasonable asks. And I felt it was noble that they wanted to include the lower-ranked players and make sure that people can make a living off padel so we can grow the sport. I think that's our main intention, especially here, right? We also care about growing the sport. So definitely team players. Now, I'm not sure what the players are holding out for. And I really hope that they come out and speak in English or come on this podcast so we can understand better. But let me say now, I'm 70% players, 30% Premier Padel.
Okay, fair. Haroon, players, the Premier Padel.
Just also to understand, like, think of yourself as a player. I think most of these players are completely aware of, how they've came to be a professional padel player and how hard it is to turn pro as a padel player full time. And it's not easy, and the opportunities are not so, it's very difficult. We saw in an interview that Galan did a few months ago where or several weeks ago, where he said that he's grateful that he's able to provide for himself and live a life just playing padel, you know. And he said it's tough for other players to, you know, to compete professionally as a padel player and provide for themselves. So they're well aware of the conditions. Like, it's not something where they're getting so much money and they're so spoiled. Like, they're aware of the situation. So when somebody like that comes out and says, yeah, things are not okay and things need to change, and they've been living like that for a very long time, and they're well aware of all the expansion that's happening and more money is being put in and sponsors and people are watching them. So a lot of opportunities are coming their way, and I think that they understand that and they are grateful and appreciative of it. But there are some things that they need to change, and I think that what they need to be changed is valid. And even though I don't know anything, but I think I give them the benefit of the doubt more than Premier Padel right now.
So you're team players?
I'm team players.
You know, something that's very, very interesting that we did not bring up in this situation was the women, correct? Because they're also on this tour. And Ari Sanchez, world number 1 on the women's side, for people that don't know, she said, like, Padel, like, we need to grow this sport. It needs to continue to grow. So I guess her stance was, like, I'm not gonna give pushback right now. We're a young sport. This is the second official year we're on tour with Premier Padel. Let's see how it goes. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's not halt the progress. So that was an interesting response I saw, and I'm leaning towards that direction. You know, like, I love I don't know. I'm pro players, always pro players, because without players, sports are nothing. And I just don't know. I don't have the information. So, but with the information I have, I feel like, okay, I'm actually leaning more towards the tour at the moment.
Yeah, because with the information we have now, what are you holding out on?
I don't know. And to see that Stupa Lebron took the step that they took, and I see Stupa as a genuine guy, so I don't think it's like he says let's play and we shouldn't be boycotting. I wanna believe the man, and so Premier Padel, at the end of the day, they came in. These guys 2 years ago they were talking about Premier Padel is the savior of Padel. So what changed? And then also the fact that they said, the contracts, by the way, we don't understand what's in the contracts. Like, come on, like, at the end of the day, if I sign a contract and if it's anything, at the end, I'm responsible, am I not?
No, they didn't say they don't understand what's in the contract. They said that it's
no,
not
they
in
said,
the contract.
I think Diestro said there are things in the contract that we don't understand exactly. I don't know what that sentence means.
Yeah,
How can I understand that? Take that quote or take that response and say, I'm with you. I'm not with anyone who signs a contract and didn't know what was on.
I think
I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
But it was on you.
Maybe,
I mean,
but that's
we
a
care
big
about the
crowd.
players, but the players they're getting their demands met. So right now, what's the holdup? Right, so it's time to move on.
I don't think their demands are being met
Also,
though.
Cuello and Tapia weren't at that press conference. I don't know what that means, if there's anything to look into there, but they were not there.
Well, it's the note that's important when you have your word number 1s for the past 2 years not there.
Yeah.
But you have your Chingo Galan were there. Chingoto and Galan are there. So
Yeah, because Galan wasn't he the former president of the association as well?
Yeah, so that's that. You guys let us know what you think in the comments about this entire situation. But Padel continues.
Well, we still had an awesome Padel tournament in Gijon,
Yes,
both from the men's side and from the women's side, even without the top guys.
Yep.
Yousef, let's start with the women. What did you think of our champions?
Oh man, this was amazing tournament from the women's side. We had all the top players there, so it was a stacked draw. And emerged a new team, and they finally won their first tournament together so soon. Gemma Triay and Delphi Brea taking down Ari Sanchez and Paulo Jose Maria in a final set battle. This was so iconic because they lost the first set 6-love.
I thought it was over when
They got
after that one.
they got bageled first set, and we thought maybe this is going to be the typical Ari and Paula domination. It wasn't. They came back and won the set 6-1, a breadstick, and then to come out and close it in the final set, just iconic, an iconic win.
It was
and
great.
this was a masterclass performance from Triay. And watching this match, it was a chess match between Sanchez and Triay. I think because if they shifted it to the other side, then it was Paulo Jose Maria against Delphi Brea. It was probably going Paulo Jose Maria's way. So they decided this needs to be Triay against Sanchez. If
Things generally go in Paulo Jose Maria.
yeah, she's just an absolute beast. So they went the other way. And Sanchez, sometimes she has ups and downs. And she had some downs in Triay. I just feel like the woman never has downs. She is as consistent as it gets. She won the MVP of the tournament, dominated that matchup. And I guess inches closer in that head-to-head. She played now against Sanchez 59 times. And it's currently 30 Ari Sanchez, 29 Gemma Triay. An iconic, maybe a legendary head-to-head matchup.
Yeah, legendary for the sport of paddle.
Not only paddle, I think in general, just the fact that in sports, if you have they're played 59 times against each other and it's this close. So this was iconic. This is an amazing win. And we finally have a team that can compete for world number one.
Yeah, really, really excited to see. And also, I just want to touch on the fact that I love the mental composure that Triay showed. And in that final and Delphi Brea in that final set, because they broke at 4-all, and they were the ones that were able to bring out their best paddle in the biggest points.
Yeah.
And it was tough even when they were serving for the match and they're trying to close it out. It was deuce add, and they were right there. Ari and Paula never quit. They don't quit. They're world number ones for a reason, and so
it was a convincing win.
Credit to Gemma Triay and Delphi Brea for maintaining their mental toughness, not giving up after the love, and then winning the critical points in that final set. They deserved the win.
No, oh yes, they did. Haroon.
Yeah, awesome. Like same idea, like the men's side, like same idea with Stupa and Lebron. I was also hyped up about Gemma Triay and Delphi Brea. Same idea of some, veterans joining up, partnering up, and teaming up to take down the big guys. I love it. I'm so upset and so sad. It was kind of bittersweet when they won. I'm like, no, I left that train last time. I was like, yeah, Pablo Jose Maria and Ari Sanchez are probably gonna win. You can't bet against them until they lose. I thought they were gonna be too good, but I'm happy for them as well, because that just shows that there's more excitement, we have now with Pablo Jose Maria and Ari Sanchez are not invincible as we once thought they were. So that was cool. And yeah, they're just so fun to watch, and it's a nice dynamic duo. And you want to root for them as well, because they seem like they're cool people. But awesome. And the women's paddle, by the way, is baller. I love watching women's paddle. Just as much as
Yeah,
men's,
it was
for me, honestly.
It was a great final. It was a great final, a great tournament. Yousef, on the men's side, we had a big surprise. What did you think of what we saw there?
Kuro Cabeza and Diego Garcia.
Yeah.
These guys took advantage of that big gap, and wow. They absolutely wowed me in that final. That, by the way, we had an amazing final.
It was a really, really fun final.
Garcia and Cabeza taking down Tolito Aguirre and Gonza Alfonso in a 3-set, but also gladiator battle. These guys, so much energy, so much speed, so much quickness.
So quick. They're lightning quick, these
They
dudes.
are lightning quick. And you're watching this match, and Tolito probably didn't play his best. Gonza Alfonso probably didn't play his best. But at the same time, these guys, they were suffocating them. You can see there are no openings. They can't find any openings, whether they're at the net, whether they're at the back, hitting the chiquitas, trying to come in, giving them high lobs, trying to take advantage of the middle with some low balls. It's nothing. These kids are everywhere. Smashes, they're running outside, they're coming back in, they're hitting the por cuatro, por tres, everything. It was insane. And by the way, they were extremely consistent, and they were mentally composed. And at 17 and 18 years of age, it was so special. And to cap it off, which was iconic. had no coach on the bench.
Just good old teamwork.
Just good old teamwork and winging it. And on the other side, you have Tolito and Gonza, and they have their coach. And these guys are Masters final champions in A1 and the kings of A1. And they're trying to make the transition to Premier Padel. And these kids just like, hey, we're 17, 18-year-old kids. And let's try our luck. And guess what? We're going to beat you in a final set match. And it's nothing.
It's awesome.
Imagine
Iconic.
these guys just build some more muscle and work on their fitness a bit more.
They're gonna grow into their bodies.
These guys are gonna be baller. They're tall, skinny kids right now, and they have a lot of power already. Like
a lot of power. They surprised me with their power, honestly. Both of them.
But so light on their feet. Like Diego Garcia, I like, he just plays beautiful paddle. Like I'm watching him play, moving side to side, those sweet, low sliced bandejas and moving, and he's hitting smashes and running outside. There was that crazy point where they were blocking from the back, and then Gonza hits a smash block, and then he goes outside, then he brings it back in, and then he goes another smash, then boom, winner. It was just iconic. These kids are so special, and 17, 18, the sky is the limit, and they moved up so high in the rankings. Cabeza went from 176 to 86, and Garcia went from 222 to 83.
Big jump.
Gigantic jump.
Big jump.
This was never going to happen, so they can thank the boycott.
Yeah, they can thank the boycott, because after that, they're also number 3 in the race.
Which is insane.
Which is absolutely insane.
It was.
So,
how many tournaments was it going to take them to reach this ranking?
Yeah,
if everything was status quo.
Going to take them a couple of years.
Couple of years.
Easily a couple of years.
Wow. So they can thank the big guys for this.
Maybe
definitely big jump.
Maybe this is something that they could do in the future. Just add a random P2 that nobody plays from the top 100, just to see some new players who can add some more juice and get some insane boost to nitros in the ranking.
Yeah, or next gen finals.
Yeah. True.
We should see a Padel next gen
But
finals.
next gen finals
I would
doesn't
watch
have
that.
points in ATP.
Yeah, I know, but I would like to see it. I would watch it.
Yeah, true. That's a nice idea. Premier Padel. Tell them, Ismaeel.
Yeah, Premier Padel, please make a next gen finals like tennis.
Add that to
Thank
the
you.
list of demands for the players.
Yeah.
We'll make our own boycott, us three.
Yeah.
But
It was an awesome match. Let me just say, it was a super fun match.
Yeah.
I have never seen more side glasses in a match than I saw in this one. I felt like every other ball was like whack, backhand side glass, whack, around the shoulder side glass. It was smash side glass. Just side glasses all around. Insane, really fun. What you expect from Tolito and Gonza. So it was super awesome. They go for their shots, their trick shots. And I mean, you can critique them as well, because they lost the first set.
Yeah.
The way they lost it, they got broken at 6-5, at 5-6 down, and it was because
they were down. It was 5-2.
So it was 5-2, and they came back.
Yeah.
And so the kids, they held on to their mental toughness, but at 5-6, Tolito and Gonza are serving to stay in it. It was advantage for the youngsters, and then Tolito tries a drop shot. He tried off the return of serve. He loses the point on a drop shot error, because he tried to do a drop shot that like exits the court, like on break point, set point. Like that's the reason he lost that match, because like they just play regular paddle. They play undisciplined paddle.
But that is who they are.
They play fun paddle, but it's undisciplined paddle. Also, they got broken at 3-4 down. And they got broken because they exposed Tolito's movement. They got him in the corner, and then they went with the volley down the middle. And Tolito, he couldn't get it, and Gonza like made a dive. Like they were not going to get that. So I guess that's the limit for the seeding for Tolito and Gonza, which is like they play so fun, and it's not like they're going to play the winning move at all times. They're going to play the fun play. And these kids, they played solid paddle, and that's why they won.
It's
Maybe
a
also
bit
that's
of a
the limit to
reality check.
A1 as well.
Yeah, but it's a reality check, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're kings in one tour, and then you come over here, and these 17 and 18-year-olds who aren't even in the top 150, they come in and they beat you.
Who
Not
are
convincing.
fit and play solid, smart, tactical
And
paddle.
they're so
Which
cool. They're
tells
so
you-
cool. Like
was awesome.
they're calm and they're composed. It's what you need.
It's going to be interesting to see how they move forward.
Very interesting. We're going to keep an eye on them.
Because now they're going to get into big tournaments. I think main draws at the moment. Yeah, they're going to play main draws
Probably,
right away.
probably.
Well done to them.
Maybe in a
Well done to
majors or
them.
something. Yeah. Well, we want to move on to the biggest winners of the week. Come on, guys. Yousef, who's your biggest winner of the week? There are lots to choose from. What was yours?
Yeah, well, we had lots of different players that have been had the chance to make big moves. But to me, it was on the women's side. And it was a stacked tournament. Everyone was playing, as we said.
There were no players missing from that one.
Nope. And guess what? Alejandra Alonso and Andrea Ostero continue to rise. These two young women are sensational.
They're awesome.
And they had an amazing run yet again. They go on. First of all, we do know that the big upset, they took down Bea Gonzalez and took down Claudia Fernandez in a convincing win, 6-2, 6-4 in the quarterfinals. So that was a very, very special win from them. Took down the finalists from Riyadh. And also before that, taking down the veterans, Sainz and Lugano. So the fifth seeds, you take down the fifth seeds, you take down the third seeds, you make it all the way to the semifinals. You guys are 17 and 18. The sky is the limit for these two young women, and the rise is going to continue. I think Ostero's up to 11 in the world at the moment, and Alonso's up to 16. They're going to, soon enough, they're going to be competing for world number one.
Yeah, very
Wow.
impressive.
But
That's some big statements
They have a
there.
great-
Big statement.
soon enough, man, it's not a big statement. Now 17 and 18, and they're already in the top 10. So, but amazing. They take down Bea Gonzalez and Claudia Fernandez. Come on, like in 6-2, 6-4. Well done to them. Amazing team.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what they do in the future. They're going to continue to rise. World number one is on the cards. When? We do not know, though.
Awesome. Yeah, it's true. Awesome.
How about you, Ismaeel?
Yeah, well, for me, I have to mention our guy, or not our guy, but he is the man of the hour for me. Facundo Denique, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Oh,
The 16-year-old from Paraguay,
Yeah.
who was the youngest player ever to reach the semifinals in the Premier Padel.
Amazing.
And he's also the first and youngest Paraguayan
Yes.
to ever reach the semis of a Premier Padel tournament. So he's making waves for his country, also for his age. He's already showing he's a phenomena. And very nice to have a new country moving into the mix and showing such promise. Such a high level. Really, really awesome. So him and his partner, Manuel Aragon, they had a nice run, and they beat the Dutch guys in the beginning, and then they took out Boris Castro and Enzo Castello. They then took out the fourth seed, Yousef Hossein and Julian Lacamore, and before losing to the eventual champions. Great run for both of them, and Facundo's going to be someone you have to keep an eye on.
You know what's awesome about this is that Facundo Denique, because of the boycott, that is never going to be broken. He's going to hold that record for the rest of his life.
Probably. Probably.
No one is ever going to reach a semifinal at 16, probably. Yeah. So he can thank the boycott, but no one's going to remember a boycott when you go down in the history. You know who was the youngest ever to make the semifinal Premier Padel tournament? I was. 16, how'd you do it? Man, I was amazing.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to bring up the boycott. No one's going to remember it.
It's
Only
true.
thing that's going to be remembered is that he is in the history books.
Yeah.
So
it's so hard to break through like men's sports
yeah.
at that young age, like at 16, like because you're facing grown men who have fully grown into their bodies. And from the women's side, we see it more often, because women can mature quicker. Yeah. But from the men's side, that's rare. Well done, Facundo.
Never to be broken.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say
I know. I think that's a good take. Haroon, do you have one?
Yeah, well, I have to mention Yousef Hossein, the Egyptian beast. He broke a lot of records he was seeded 4 this tournament, which was awesome and a big milestone for him. And then he was also the first Arab and African to reach the quarterfinals of a Premier Padel tournament, which is also something that may never be broken ever again, but it was awesome.
Hopefully he breaks it.
Hopefully he breaks it. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. That was awesome. They played really well, him and his partner with Julian Lacamore, and it was awesome. Like the boy's been also grinding for a long time. He won a lot of FIP tournaments. He converted from tennis. So we appreciate these players from converting from a different sport. Everybody that is a non-Spanish speaking player, it's a struggle to get on that tour. And that's a big milestone, and that needs to be highlighted because, he's a great player and a big milestone, and hopefully other players follow in his footsteps in the years to come. And hopefully he breaks his own records. So, it was awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, and just a great inspiration for people from the region So Arab and African players, they look like this is someone I can look up to. A kid right now in Egypt, a kid in anywhere, Saudi Arabia, anywhere in Africa, they're playing paddle in Nigeria. Actually, there's an Arab, there's an African who's able to achieve these things. So that's awesome. He's now into the top 150 at 145, his highest ranking ever. So that's nice to have a role model you can look up to, and you have someone that you can touch in a way. He comes from the same background that you come from, and he's making it to the top.
Yeah, and his run, by the way, to where he is in the rankings is no fluke.
Yeah.
He already won a first round match in Dubai when the whole draw was stacked.
Yeah.
And he had a really excellent win there. And he's an elite mover. Anyone who watches him play, he moves elite. He has great power. He's an absolute fantastic player, very mentally tough player. He absolutely deserves everything he's achieved.
And he almost beat that final against Denike. They lost to Denike and Aragon. Went to a final set. We might have been saying he's the semifinalist, but hopefully sometime soon.
I think more is to come from Yousef Hassan.
Yeah. And his partner, Julian Lakamwere, very, very good player in his own right.
Nah, they're a good team. They're a good team. I'm going to keep an eye on them.
Let's see what happens in Cancun.
Yeah. They're going to get another chance. Yeah.
Well, moving on to our next segment, and that is the cool dude moment of the week. Something might have happened this week that brought our attention. Ismaeel, you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Rafael Nadal is back on the courts.
Yes, he is.
But the paddle courts.
Yeah.
He's playing paddle now.
Came
And
over to the dark side.
he's on our side now. He's playing paddle now. And if you saw the video, we'll pop it up here. He was playing paddle on his courts in the Rafa Nadal Academy.
Yeah.
And, you know, he retired because he wasn't moving as well. But guess what? He was moving excellent on those courts. And he was going back and forward, and he was moving smooth, serving, coming to the volley. He was playing with, I think, Babula. I think it was LeBron's racket, you know, because he's also a Babula guy. But he has his Bechada looked nice. I don't know if you saw that.
The
He won
Bechada was nice, but the Bandeja, on the other hand,
the Bandeja
it's
needs
fine,
work.
but the footwork needs some work.
The footwork needs
You're
work.
not
It's
supposed
also
to
a
hit
bit
that off the back leg,
off the
moving
big
back.
foot,
You
back
lose the
foot.
net position. Come on, Rafa.
Yeah.
Come on, Rafa.
and it's a bit high. It's coming out. It's bouncing so high.
It's so bouncy, he can take over the net. Carlos Moya was on the other side. He can give you a chiquita, attack the
Yeah.
net. Por tres, por cuatro, it's
Yeah,
over.
like if he's gonna play that bandeja, like Koyo's gonna eat that bandeja alive. So he needs to get that. He needs to sharpen that bandeja a little bit. Yeah. The volleys, on the other hand, they're amazing. We saw those half volleys that he was picking up, some nice.
That
crisp
chiquita,
volleys.
by the way, if you look in the video, they hit the chiquita came to him, and he just hit as if it was nothing right over the net. Rafa with the insane touch.
Rafa always underrated as a volleyer. Exceptional volleyer his whole career.
I think it would be iconic if, for example, in one of the tournaments they do like maybe if there's an exhibition match, you have Rafa on one side, who's an investor in paddle, which means he's gonna probably want the sport to grow, and Bella maybe. Can he get Roger? Roger has played paddle before, so maybe you can get Roger.
Yeah.
And then make it. I think it would be gigantic.
That would be iconic.
If you do an exhibition just that, oh my God, it would be iconic.
Yeah, because
maybe in Roland Garros.
Yeah, like who would win? Because if you have like Bella Rafa against Roger Koyo, who wins?
Interesting.
I'd be watching that.
I would be watching that.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. I'd give my life to that if you want.
They're going to go play, by the
Rafa
way,
moves to paddle?
in Cancun in Rafael Nadal Academy. So it is.
Yeah,
they are.
true.
Which we need to see Rafa on a paddle. We need to see a match with Rafa on a paddle court, but maybe practice for 2 weeks.
Do you think you could beat Rafa in paddle?
At the moment,
Yeah.
hell no.
I thought you were gonna say like, yeah, now.
No way. No way.
How's
no
Rafa
way.
on the
First of
grass?
all,
How's Rafa on the grass in the back? I think I can beat him on the grass in the back.
On grass, you can beat a Wimbledon champion. What?
I don't know what's his
What
grass
grass?
game like on the back. How's his defensive game? I don't
Oh,
know.
glass
glass,
game.
on
I
the
heard glass
glass.
game. Glass game? Maybe.
Yeah.
But he's going to play tennis. He's going to attack you. He's going to suffocate you at the net. You're not going to get one ball past him. He's going to hit those smashes whenever he gets the chance. Good night, sleep tight. Rafa beats you 10 times out of 10.
If he gives
Yeah,
me
but
his
if you give
flat
me
smashes, I'll
Tapia-
stab it back at him. I'll stab it back at his face.
No, you won't. No, you won't, because you're not even going to reach them.
If
Rafa has one of the best smashes in tennis, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Okay, but like if Rafa played like with Arroyo and I played with Tapia, we could win.
You won't win. Don't disrespect the king of clay.
Yeah, no.
He's
no
not the
disrespect.
king of paddle.
All right, guys.
He's still.
Well, yeah, you're not the king of paddle. Guys, well, we like to keep you posted every week on where we were right and where we were wrong.
Yes.
Good news, where we were right.
On the men's side.
On the men's side, well, at least we had Tolito Aguirre and Algonza.
We were wrong. Don't try to take
We
credit.
were almost
we
right.
were wrong.
But none of us were right on the men's side. We were all wrong on that side. Well, on the women's side, we were also all wrong on the women's side because we all had Ari Paula winning that match. So, yeah, we did not do well in our picks this week. We'll try to make up for it next week, though. I think we'll have a high chance to make it up for it next week.
We do, especially on the men's side.
Yeah, I think we're going to do good. So let's get into that right away, guys. We have Cancun P2 coming up. Yousef, who you got?
Stupa Lebron. Thank you. Move on.
Yeah. It's going to be hard. Haroon, are you going to take Yousef Hassam?
If he's playing, I could take him again. Maybe get some.
Well, he is playing.
You're going to take him? Okay. Go
No,
ahead.
I won't take it. What's he talking about? Like Stupa, Stupa and LeBron. I don't. The list is not on Premier Pad on the FIP website, so I don't know who's playing.
Yeah, because the registration's closed, but there's no one. The next one is Mike Solvis and some other guy,
No, no.
78 and ranked 124.
Yeah.
Are you taking Stupa and LeBron? Yes or no? Even if they were the top 20 players in the world, are you taking?
They're my team for the year. Of course, I'm taking Stupa and LeBron. I told you we're number ones.
Is there any chance? Is there any chance that they don't win?
No, I'm definitely taking Super LeBron, 100%. I guess the more interesting question is, who do you have in the final facing them? Would you take Tolito again?
It depends on the draw. I have to see the draw, but yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. I'd bet on Tolito, but I want to see Yousef Hassan make a deep run. It would be fun to see that.
Maybe Tolito.
But we have these young kids now. You have Facundo. You have all these young kids that just Garcia just won it.
Cremona also made the semis, so let's see.
Let's see. And I'd like to see them play Super LeBron and see what they give them. All right. Well, on the women's side, Yousef, who do you got in Cancun?
I'm going for revenge. I'm going to take them again, back to back to back. Paulo Jose Maria and Anthony Sanchez. Not changing here. I think they're going to take revenge this week. Brea and Claudia, they're not playing this tournament. I maybe was going to take them. So Ari and Paula. Sorry, Gemma. Sorry, Delphi.
Haroon, who do you got?
I'm taking Triay and Delphi Brea. I went off of that bandwagon before. I'm not going off it again. They're beasts and they deserve it. They're going to win.
Good. I'm not going to make this interesting. I'm going to go with Sofia Araujo.
Again?
Araujo. Yes. Let me go with Sofia. My girl, I love to watch her play. Maybe this time, maybe they're fatigued.
They're always going to lose in the semis. They're always going to lose in the semis.
Maybe Cancun is the chance. With the sun in Cancun, maybe they'll feel relaxed. Maybe Ari and Paulo might have a little bit too much open buffet. Maybe they have too much Mexican food or something. Maybe some Mexican poison. We saw that happen in Acapulco. A lot of the players went out. I'm rooting for something special here for my girl, Sofia.
So weird. You want people to get food poisoning so you can get...
Not really, but I want Sofia to win. So maybe let me have that. All right, guys. Good picks. Let's see what happens. That wraps up our show. Guys, follow us here at the Padel Pulse podcast every week to get everything happening in the world of Padel. Let's see what happens with this boycott coming up. See you next week.
And Cancun.
And Cancun.
See you guys.
Bye.
¡Vamos, vamos, vamos!